Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Cooking for the Family. I'm Dyvonne and today I'm going to share with you how I make my cherry cream cheese Danish. I'm going to share with you the ingredients that I use and all the ins and outs to make them for your family. Are you ready? Let's get started. These are the ingredients that I'm going to be using. I'll also have a list of ingredients in the description box below for your reference. So in my bowl, I have 1 tablespoon of water, and to that I'm going to add 1 large egg that I have at room temperature. We're going to be using 2 eggs for the recipe. This first egg is going to be the whole egg, and we're going to be using this for our egg wash for our pastry. The other egg, we're only going to be using the egg yolk, and that's going to go in our cream cheese mixture. So in my bowl, I have that 1 tablespoon of water and 1 large egg at room temperature. We use the whole egg, and so after I've gone on and I beat it really well, I'm going to put this to the side, and then we're going to start working on our filling for our cream cheese Danish. So I have here 1 8-ounce pack of cream cheese, and it's nice and soft, and so you want this at room temperature because we're going to need to blend this really well, and so you want to have some room temperature cream cheese. Now, if you are new to my channel, I want to welcome you in, and if you're a returner, I want to thank you for coming back, and I want to thank all my wonderful subscribers for your likes, your shares, your subscribes, and your good vibe comments. I truly appreciate it. And so if you enjoy the content, I hope you consider subscribing. Now, once I put my cream cheese that's nice and soft in my bowl, I use my rubber spatula and I press down. I'm just kind of flattening and smoothing out the cream cheese. I like to do this first because it's going to make it a little bit easier when we go to mix in the other ingredients. So after the cream cheese, I'm going to add in some regular granulated sugar, and this is 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar that I'm adding to the cream cheese. Now, before I add in my other ingredients, I like to blend in that sugar with the cream cheese and just start to get it going. This is also going to help me not to overmix my filling. And I do this by a press and fold method. I press the granulated sugar into the cream cheese, and then I fold over the cream cheese to make sure I have no more dry spots of sugar in my bowl. And then I add in my vanilla extract. So for my vanilla extract, I'm using 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. I'm also going to use 1 large egg that I have at room temperature. Now for my egg, we're only going to use the egg yolk and not the whites. So I'm going to go ahead and separate my egg. So we're only going to use the yolk because we want our filling to have a nice thick consistency. In order to do that, you just want the yolk and not the full egg. Now, before I switch over to using my wire whisk, I'm going to use my spatula still and do that folding and blending method with the egg and the vanilla. So far in our bowl, we have our 1 package, which was 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. We have 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and 1 egg yolk. And that is the filling for our Danishes. And this filling, if you can, like today I'm going to be making the cherry Danish, but if you just want to make Danish without any cherries on top, you can also use blueberries actually on top as well. But if you want to make it without it, you can just do it just like this without the cherries. Now I'm going to blend my filling until I have no streaks of white, no streaks of the yellow from the egg yolk, and also your filling will get slightly thickened. So this is the puff pastry that I'm going to be using, and in this box you get 2 sheets of puff pastry, and in each sheet, well, I'll show you, you're going to see some panels. I call those panels, but you're going to have 2 sheets of puff pastry. Now the puff pastry, you find this in your freezer section. It's usually by the frozen pies or sometimes the Cool Whip. You'll find it in the freezer section around in those areas is where you're going to find puff pastry, not phyllo dough. You want to use puff pastry. And so you want to keep this frozen. When you're ready to use it, you can put it on your countertop for about 20 to 30 minutes and let it unthaw. We're going to be working with 1 sheet at a time. Now when you open it up, you're going to see it has the dusting of flour on it. And it also has these pieces of parchment paper to keep it from sticking together. You might get a slight bit of sticking, and that's normal when you open it up and it's defrosted a bit. You're going to get maybe a little bit of sticking, and that's okay. You still want this to be cold to the touch. So it should not be frozen, but it should be cold. Now each panel, I'm going to make 3 Danishes, and these are going to be mini Danish. Now you can use 2 per panel if you want and make a little bit of a bigger Danish, but I'm going to make some that are mini Danish, and they're about, say, the size of my fist. If I was going to ball up my fist, or say the size of a baseball, a little bit bigger than the size of a baseball, is what these are going to end up being when they bake up. And so each one we're going to do 3 Danishes. It's going to give us a total of 9. And then the second sheet, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator to let it stay nice and chilled while we work with the first sheet. And what I'm going to do is I take my rolling pin, and I don't have any flour or anything on my rolling pin. I just gently roll and press. I just want to press this out, make it just a tiny bit larger than what it is right now. I want to flatten it just slightly, okay? And so just a little bit, I just kind of flatten it a little bit and roll with my rolling pin, not too much. And then I use my knife, and I'm going to score my panels. And so I have those 3 panels that I'm going to go ahead and score, because this is going to make it easier for us to work with as we go on and do our 9 different Danishes. Now, while you're working with your puff pastry, if you feel that it's getting too soft or it feels like it's getting kind of sticky on you, you want to go ahead and just pop this back in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes and let it just get cold again or just a little bit firm, and then go ahead and continue on with the recipe. And so once I've separated my panels, I'm going to divide those into thirds. And again, if you want to make bigger Danishes, you can just do half. And just go ahead and divide each one into half and put more filling in. And I'll share with you how much filling I put for each of these. I'm going to use my rimmed baking sheet, and I also have parchment paper. Now, if you don't have any parchment paper, you can use a baking mat instead. And if you don't have a baking mat either, you can go ahead and just spray your cookie sheet with some nonstick spray. Make sure that you're going to bake them on the top rack. Now, you're going to get better results by using that parchment paper. It is important to use the parchment paper, especially with using the puff pastry, but in a pinch, you can go ahead and bake without it, but just watch them carefully so that way they don't scorch on the bottom, okay? Now, with each square, I fold in the corners, just like I'm doing there. So you want to fold in the corners. You do not want to have the corners touch, so none of my corners are touching, but I fold it in, and you're going to have that little space that's going to be in the middle. And so again, I just fold in the corners just like that. You're going to have a little space that's going to be in the middle, and there's also going to be a space. So you're just folding in your corners to make like little triangles. And so you see we've made just like this nice pattern that we folded in. And again, and then when you fold in your corners, gently press. You want them to stay down, so just like gently press, just kind of press just like that. And if they lift up just a little bit, that's okay. And so this is what you want your squares to look like. You've taken them from the flat square, we folded in each corner, and we've made like this little design, and in the center is where we're going to put that filling. Now for my filling, I'm going to be using my tablespoon measuring spoon, and I'm going to be putting in about a half of a tablespoon. You can go all the way up to 1 tablespoon. And so what I do is I go ahead and I use my tablespoon as a guide, and then I'll go back and I'll just even them out a bit, so that way I have just about enough filling in each one. But about half a tablespoon up to no more than a tablespoon is what each one is going to be able to hold. And then I'll go back and I'll just kind of even it out a little bit. If I have a little too much in one, I'll just even it out just a bit. Now this is going to be enough filling that we have mixed up to make all 18. So total we're going to be making 18. We have 9 on this sheet. We're also going to be doing a second sheet of 9. So total we'll have 18 mini cherry cream cheese Danishes. Now once I have that filling, which is right in the center, on top of those triangles that are folded, then I put in my cherry filling. This is regular cherry pie filling, and I like to put 3 cherries right on top. You want to nestle the cherries on top of that cream cheese filling. Now once we have our cherries on top of our filling, then we're going to be using the egg wash that we made with the 1 large egg at room temperature that we beat with the 1 tablespoon of water. You want to use a brush and you want to go all around the sides to make sure that any exposed pastry is all covered with that egg wash. This is going to help that to have a nice, our Danish to have a nice, beautiful golden brown color as it bakes up. And as our Danishes bake, they're going to puff up, and then our cherries are going to look like they're sitting on like a dome of cloud from that cream cheese filling. Now once it's nice and done and we take our Danishes out, they'll be puffy, and then as they cool, they will settle and relax, and you'll have your cherries and cream cheese surrounded by some beautiful golden brown puff pastry. Well, our Danishes are out of the oven. They have baked at 400 degrees. Mine have baked for 15 minutes, and you're going to bake them for about 15 minutes to up to about 18 minutes. Now, while they're cooling, I get together batch number 2 the same way I did batch number 1. And once they're baked, they can sit out for about 2 to 3 hours. And then to store them, you would want to store your cooled pastries inside an airtight container in your refrigerator. You can store them for an additional 3 to 4 days. And then to warm them, you can simply just at half power in your microwave for about 10-second increments. You can also warm them in the air fryer, and you can also warm them in the oven and just watch them. It only takes maybe about 3 to 5 minutes to warm them. And if you like to warm them in your oven, you could just warm them on 350 degrees for about 3 to 5 minutes. Now for my drizzle, I have a half a cup of powdered sugar, and to the half a cup of powdered sugar, I have 1 tablespoon of water. Now with this, I want to have it as a nice drizzle consistency. So I start off with that 1 tablespoon of water, and then I'm just going to add a couple of more drops to get the consistency I like. So if you want a little bit thicker, the half a cup of powdered sugar with the 1 tablespoon of water is a little bit thicker. This, I added just a few more drops of water to get that drizzle that I want to have. And the drizzle of glaze is optional. You can also add a little bit of just powdered sugar and just dust it with powdered sugar around the outside edge of your pastry. You can also do that. And these are perfect to share for a brunch, on a nice brunch table. They make a beautiful presentation. They have come out so nicely. And I'm going to be boxing up a few and taking them over to my friend and sharing some with her. Now this first one right here is going to be for y'all to go ahead and give it a try. Look at the undercarriage. It has baked up so nicely. But are you ready for your bite? Go ahead and take your bite. Now I'm going to take my bite and see how we did. Oh my goodness. Friends, these have come out so good. They come out so good. And just following those key steps, you can make these beautiful pastries at home. Well, I hope you give this recipe a try. In the description box below, I'll have a few of my other vlogs that I use puff pastry, especially my Brie puff pastry. Well, that is it for me today. If you're not subscribed, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video and appreciate the content, don't forget to show it some love, give it a thumbs up, and click share. Share this video with a friend or a family. And don't forget to click that notification bell so you can come back and visit me again in my kitchen. And remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.